If you want to be able to buy the most expensive players and open the best packs in FC25, go to u7buy.com to buy your EA FC25 coins. It's cheaper than buying FC points and just as reliable. With their already amazing prices, you can get an extra 6% using promo code Inception at checkout. Okay, guys, so with SBC content, you know, EA is just dropping the ball like crazy on that. So we've already done a custom tactic video today. I might do like a PC settings optimization thing as well. I haven't gotten it to be at a perfect level because it's still very laggy and stuff. But yeah, we're gonna make the evolution video because that's pretty much all we can really do at this point. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. These are transfer market cards. You know, these are not cards that they should be dropping as SBCs. They know that people do not use these leagues. Even if she's 5-star, like a Saudi league player, this player, like, not really much else to say. Anyways, aerial dominance. This is an evolution that you should probably provide for center backs as well as like physical type attackers, I would say. That could be players like in the side positions as well. Because, you know, there are some tactics where if you cross the ball to the far post, having an aerial and a power header plus could be very, very helpful, right? So a couple of interesting variables to work with there for sure. Some of these cards that are trending are cards that already have certain play styles, right? If they do not have play styles, it's because you're basically upgrading from, excuse me, you know, the rare gold version and whatnot, right? So you would be mainly looking at like a stat improvements for some of these cards, right? So with a card like Aloeron, you're getting a shooting boost, which is still a welcome inclusion, defensive boost, physical boost. So the shooting and the physical is nice. The physical boost is a very helpful thing. A card like this, I would say playing in the side position could actually benefit off of these playstyles being added. Unfortunately, with the way that this game works, they don't give you a regular power header if you don't really match all of the things of the evolution, which in my opinion is stupid, but you know, they're doing it the way that they're doing it. This card has aerial though, so that is, I think, a thing that was added to the card, which it was. So obviously having a taller player like this in the side position could be helpful to score some of those opportunities if you do cross the ball. As players, you know, it's a combination of I need jumping, but then I also need the play styles or the roles to utilize all those things together, right? Either Militao most likely from the rare gold. Yep, so the rare gold gets the improvements. You get the, excuse me, this Black Ops thing is still open for me playing the game. Game has its problems, but probably a top 3 Call of Duty in my opinion. It's been fun to play for sure. Sorry, just closing it. It does take a long time to actually close. I might have been lagging as I was closing it, to be honest. It'll get there. It'll get there. Give me a second. My computer was still like working in the background. That's why I'm probably lagging right now until this is done. There you go. Now it's back to normal. Yeah, so Ether Militao gets the improvements as well. This is where it makes more sense, I would say. If you want to improve cards for the long term, seems to be a pretty common occurrence when it comes to upgrading cards this year. But Shadow Chemistry Style for the mostly lengthy with the pace boost as well as the defensive boost, giving him a power header. Again, it just makes sense for the defenders, right? If we go to the rare gold version of this card, he already has a regular aerial, so wasted in that, but not necessarily in the power header plus. He only has the regular power header, so you are giving him the power header plus for that. But yeah, Izak, if you want to start an upgrade on him and then potentially hope for something better in the future with evolutions, he could be pretty cool too, because by default he is a physical type attacker with a 6'4" height, and you are adding a few things to him, right? So if we go to the rare gold version, check out his playstyles. Does not have an aerial, does not have a power header. So at least with this one, you're not wasting the evolution as much. You are giving him these stat improvements, and you're hoping for something more in the future as a common occurrence this year. With the Hunter Chemistry Style on the card, you can increase the pace, you can increase the shooting, right? Make him as usable as possible as of right now, but that's something that you're improving now, and then you kind of hope for in the future. Koundé gets the stat improvements. I wouldn't really do it on Koundé, especially since he already has a Jockey Plus. You can give him certain base playstyles and whatnot, but yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense, I would say. Whipped Pass for the Bellanova card, mainly for stat increases. Maybe he gets the aerial on the card, potentially. Yeah, so he gets the aerial, does not get the power header plus, nor the regular power header. But he does get the improvements too. Nico Williams with the rapid plus, that is already on the card. You can improve base card stats on this card, which can be helpful if you want to improve certain things here and there. Yeah, honestly, like the rare gold Nico Williams is a card that you could actually technically still use to this day if you really wanted to. But yeah, it's a couple of variables to work with him if you want some future improvements, because since he's a sided player, giving him an aerial could be a helpful thing depending on where you actually line up this card in the future, right? Obviously, you can't really give him the power header plus because he already has the rapid plus, right? But he doesn't have aerial, so if you cross the ball and you want someone that could potentially win that in the air, could be a decent thing. He doesn't really have oh, he does actually have 90 jumping. I didn't actually realize that. So now he can actually jump a little bit better, which is helpful. Can't really go wrong with that. Chiesa, you are giving him the power header on this card. Again, that's if you have the intention of crossing the ball basically to the far post to potentially score those opportunities. Again, this evolution, it looks like the type of evolution you do to improve cards and hope for something in the future, right? Like doing these top meta cards. Again, it mainly looks like a sentimental one for the most part, right? Because you can't really go past the playstyle plus. Power shot on this card for Tell, 89 shooting, 86 dribbling, 38, 81. The physical boost actually is pretty good for him. I think that would actually make a pretty significant difference for a card like this, especially since that's the difference, right? So a lot of strength, stamina, and jumping. I feel like he maybe didn't have aerial before. Let's see. No, so no aerial before. So now you give that on the card. That's not too bad, to be honest, because with a card like this already being a taller player at 6 foot tall, or 6 foot height, you know, you can have him on the right hand side, right mid. He still has the inside forward role, and you could potentially cook in that area, right? Having a player that actually can win the ball in the air can be a helpful thing, and he does have the 90 jumping, 90 heading accuracy. So if you have a card like this in that right mid position, could be pretty cool too. Koundé, Jota, Rashford gets one. You can do it to Mudryk, I guess, to give him the regular aerial too if you want, with a 5-star, 4-star capability. But this is a paid one for 100k into the free for a bunch of stat increases. He gets defense and physical, but not really super relevant for that, I would say. Buchanan, this is from the SBC, I believe, right? So this one makes a little bit of sense, right? Again, you probably give him the aerial because I don't expect him to actually have that. No, doesn't have the aerial. So you get the stat increase on the card, but then you can use him as an actual player in the side position that can potentially score too. This is mainly for like the Canadian fans, you know, if you give him like a finisher chemistry style, actually use him in the right mid position. But he has winger plus and wide midfielder. This is a card that they gave him roles specifically for like the 3-back formations, I would say. Nothing more than that. Gordon gets one. This Gordon card is actually going to get a few options for evolutions because he doesn't have a playstyle plus. So it basically will just depend on you and what you want to give the card, because again, with the stat increase for certain things, it could make him a little bit more usable, right? Especially with the shooting being a little bit higher in the finishing and shot power department, definitely makes him way more usable. Then you can kind of go down the route of potentially giving him an engine chemistry style or a finisher, because the agility is much lower than the other stats, right? But this is a more usable version of Gordon. Unfortunately, it doesn't get the 4-star, 4-star, but you do get the improvements for that too. Yeah, there could be like a few options here. Like this is the Inform card, yeah, because I think the Player of the Month had, yeah, he had chip shot on that card. So the Inform card you could improve as well for Marmoush. Could totally go down this direction if you truly want that power header, because he is 6 foot tall. I think he probably already had an aerial. He feels like he would. Oh, he doesn't. So this would actually be significant. Probably one of the more significant ones that I have seen so far. Right? Inform Marmoush into this. It actually gives him like very important things. It makes him way more usable. Shooting 87, and then the physical boost to make his physical stats in general better is really nice. So can't really go wrong with that, especially on that finisher too. Slobosloi, Caicedo. You could do the upgrade on the Caicedo power header, would be very pointless for him. Keane? No, Keane with it's just a stat boost. And then we start to move into the more sentimental value ones here. Pedro Gonzalez, Rapid Wing Mastery. stat increase with 87 shooting and then 75 physical would be pretty big for him too. Lamine Yamal. Yeah, mainly for stat increase, right? This one has a 75 for shooting. Now he has an 83, so that's a big shooting boost for the card. And then again, you give him a finisher. This card becomes a little bit more usable, so on and so forth, right? So yeah, you know, not really like a whole lot to check out for this one specifically. Again, with the evolutions this year, like it's weird because a lot of them are sentimental ones that you just improve over time, I guess, you know. Aloeron. I don't even think Foot.gg has a list. Oh, they do have a list. Acrobatic Star? No. Yeah, they don't even have a list for this one specifically. Same as his 4 mil card on the market for Rashford. Yeah, that looks pretty good, actually. That looks really solid, actually. Striker looks really good. Power shot is always going to be very effective. They all are. Kobe Mainu, this is a good choice considering future potential evos or should wait. It's just the way they do evos this year is just strange because it's like you don't give playstyle pluses for some of them. One of the most broken evolutions I've seen this year for Gravenberch. Yeah, it looks pretty good, to be honest. Good improvements. But yeah, one of those evolutions. There's probably like gonna be like a few where you can maybe chain evo. Let's see. Oh, easy SBC's probably not working. Oh, they were. Nuno Tavares was one. That's actually not a bad one if you do that. Acrobatic Star? No, Aerial Dominance. Hello? Oh, there you go. I was about to say. Shooting, defense, and physical. Fullback. Giyu is cooking this year, bro. I've seen so many South Korean players this year. My goodness. Rui Pedro. 5-star, 4-star for this Rui Pedro. Again, this is the way that you should have done it, right? This is what I mean, though. Like, if you do it since the beginning, the thing is, right, is that, like, okay, these evolutions, they're cool, but this is a paid evolution. Does it tell you on EasySBC, like, how much it costs to do the whole thing? Because Dino is a paid one. You know what it is, bro? It's like, these cards, they're cool, but, like, you have to pay for this. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, people are not going to go down this direction because, like, a lot of the times they won't pay for those things unless they truly want one of their more sentimental cards to be a little bit better. This card, like I said, it looks like it could be pretty cool in game, but when it comes to the sentimentals, like, you have to pay for it. It's like, oh, I know this. I know that EA is never going to really drop a promo card for this guy because that's the way evolutions should be done, to be fair. But it's like, you got to pay for them. And if they were actual promo cards, they would never cost as much, you know? It's just a way to, like, get you to spend on FIFA points. More specifically than the coins, I would say. Yeah. Anyways, there could be some cool options. Obviously, if you guys have been doing some evolutions as the time has gone by, there could be a few cool different ones you could do, right? Like Rodrigo Ribeiro, right? It's another Portuguese player that gets massively increased too. Honestly, doesn't look bad at all. Looks pretty cool in an engine because his finishing is already really high at 97, right? And then you would just go from there because he's 5-star, 4-star on this one. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, giving it to like defenders and stuff would make a lot of sense because power header on them is nice, but like cards like Tell would make sense too. Make him a little bit more usable. Danuma gets the power header. Keen gets one as well from the inform, so you could do that if you want to improve your inform cards. Lamine Yamal from the rare gold, I guess, gets it too. So it just depends on what you want to work with. Obviously, with this one, I think going in the route of going for like the physical attackers, like the strikers that are like really big and have aerial and a power header could be really good. But the defenders could also be really good. Side players in the left mid, right mid position, like Tell could be really solid at that too. In case you want to cross the ball to players like that, you know. Lee Kang-in has one, Undaf. Yeah, so on and so forth. But yeah, that's pretty much it. not really much to talk about for this evolution. Again, you have to check some of your players that you have been doing evos for, and you might actually have some good options. It just depends, really, you know. But yeah, definitely not going to do the review for Dabinia because I'm going to be honest. Like, I did a review for Mars, and he'd even surpassed like 10k views because people are not interested in these cards, man. Saudi League players, like, people are not going to have teams for that. You barely ever see them being used, even though they dropped SBCs for them. And yeah, EA definitely needs to change up the content because this year, for the last 2 months, has been very inconsistent. We've been lucky that the player of the months from real life performances, not in EA's control, have been good because that's the only time we actually get content that's actually remotely interesting. But it is what it is, boys. I'll catch you guys for the next one, all right? Peace out, dudes. Love you guys.